Hello, I'm John V. Free, and you are watching the extended uncut interview with the developer of Bokube. This interview was briefly featured in the fall 2024 broadcast of The Verdict. Be sure to check out Bokube's early access demo on itch.io and wishlisted on Steam. Both will be listed in the link below.
Welcome to The Verdict. We are sitting down today with the developer behind Bokube, also goes by the name Frederick Conceptions. This is Bokudev. Thank you for coming to The Verdict.
Or that's actually Frederick Conception. That's actually my last name, by the way. A lot of people get that mixed up.
And I presume you are not wanting to fill us in on your first name?
Oh, it's Frederick.
Frederick.
People, no, it's Frederick Conception. People always, they look at me because I'm a mutt of many races, and they think it's Fernando for some reason. I don't know why.
On a unrelated note, we actually do know a Fernando, and I would have never made the link between that and Frederick. All right. So tell us a little bit about your game and how you got into game development.
Okay, well, let's start with game development. I basically came to the conclusion that if I want to live a good life as a guy, I'd had to make my own purpose in life and go nuts at it autistically, because modern society doesn't really offer real purpose to guys. And it always puts them in a lose-lose position. So I'd have to come up with my own autistic dream and kind of like some dumb shonen anime character go at it. Like, that's my dream and I have to never give up. And that's the position I'm in pretty much with game development. Whether I make no money or money, I'm just going at it without giving up, pretty much. Whether it's retarded or will pan out in the long term, we'll see. And there's a guy I met that I can't tell you who he is, but he taught me the concept of owning 10 worlds. And just because a man has collected or made 10 things worth some value, the combination of those things takes care of him in the long term. Like, think hoarding 10 diamonds, but then some 3-letter agency shows up at your door and wants to kill you, but you give them maybe 2 of those diamonds and they give you enough money to live out the rest of your days happily in peace, that kind of thing. And it's called Jukai. And Jukai, or ownership of 10 worlds, doesn't have to be hard assets these days. It could be something as simple as making like 10 video games worth of 10 worlds, you could say, right? And I pretty much made it my dream to make 10 really good video games and then use the money from those dreams to get an expensive diamond, a gold bar or something. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But each game's profits, pretty much. And I grew up in a pretty ghetto location outside of Chicago that had a lot of crime and gang-related incidents when I was a toddler. But my family was a right-wing Christian family, and my dad was, when I was like 3 or 4 years old, would buy me Japanese video games and expensive computer hardware and kind of pushed me in a direction of being some weeb instead of being a gang member. And it made me enjoy being home, you know, instead of going outside and getting shot. I like playing video games and the internet and anime and whatnot. And since I was extremely young, I might have been like 2 or 3 or something. Eventually, we moved to safe upper-class places when I got older because my dad worked hard to get us out of the ghetto. But I still kept my love of video games and making things and dealing with technology and whatnot.
All right, so obviously your game is called Bokube. What was the inspiration behind Bokube?
I actually haven't told people how to pronounce it correctly because I'm doing some retarded marketing gimmick where I leave you all guessing how to pronounce it correctly. Nobody knows. It could be Bokube. It could be Bokube. It could be Bokube. It could be Bokube. I'll never tell you. You'll have to figure it out. Guess. Eventually, I'll have everybody guessing and discussing it more, and there'll be those dumb YouTube theories. And I'll get, you know, it's free marketing. I'm pulling 4D chess tactics with marketing and whatnot.
Wait. I'm going to solve this right here. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick this up. I'm gonna solve this. Hold on, I'm pulling up a text-to-speech generator. Oh, it's making.
Oh no! Oh, I'm done. It's over. It's over.
Once and for all.
Oh,
this is the Verdict exclusive. We are. Gonna find
I
out.
can't say that on YouTube.
You were lucky. They are trying to get me to sign up for everything. Okay. What? Hold on. I'm gonna do this again. Joey, tell me if you do this.
Bokube.
Oh God, my secrets are out
Bokube.
there.
You heard it here first, folks. Bokube is the internet translated official name of the game. All right. All right. So next question. So you have a Kickstarter for Bokube, and what was your decision and reasoning behind doing a Kickstarter instead of reaching out to investors or self-funding?
I feel like the publisher offers that I got over the years, because I went to game dev school when I was younger. I'm 28 now. I went to game dev school when I was like 17 because I graduated early. And I got a bunch of publisher offers over the years from pretty big people that you might know, but I'm not legally, excuse me, I burped off my coffee. I'm not legally allowed to say. They always sucked. They wanted Bokube for free. Oh shit, you didn't hear that. They wanted it for free, and I would be forced to give them IP rights and sequel rights with no funding, basically selling my soul and only getting their marketing power. And I never wanted to agree to do that. I wanted funding to escape wage slavery because I started Bokube's development when I was 21, and I'm 28 now. So you can imagine how long I've been working on it. But it's only taken me that long because I've been a wage slave working on the game and being a full-time cook at the same time. And that's why I always hated publishers, because I wanted one of them to give me enough money to work on it full time for at least 1 or 2 years, but I never could get that. It was always free offers, and they just take my entire soul and give me nothing but marketing. It sucked. They all suck. So crowdfunding, I eventually went with a Kickstarter to give me enough money to get a programmer early on when I was, I think, 22-ish, so that I could hire a programmer from AGDG of all places. And they could write the original source code for the game, and it would be enough for me that I could build the rest of the game off of that and not need any more money or code forever. And that actually ended up being true, where the game has basically only used the funds from that 2017 Kickstarter, which is around like $6,000. And the only reason it hasn't released way sooner is because I've been a filthy wage slave the entire time.
Now, I'm going to diverge from our initial prompts here for second, because you mentioned something I'd like to touch on. You said you've been working on this game since you were 21, right?
Somewhere around there. I got brain rot from being a cook.
So you've been doing this for 7 years. How is the initial scope of the game? I guess my question is how did it start versus where it is now? What has that process been like? What's changed? Has your initial overall scope changed? Has the game largely stayed the same over those 7 years at all?
I feel like I don't think the scope has changed from the original design document. It was always meant to be a puzzle platformer that was like 6 to 8 hours long. And I'll admit, out of the 10 games I want to make of differing genres, I picked Bokube to be my first one because it was supposed to be a simple puzzle platformer, and I knew nothing about programming. I knew nothing about 3D modeling. I knew nothing about anything. But Bokube was supposed to be this, I thought it was easy to do because it wasn't an MMO. You know how everybody always says, don't make an MMO as your first game because it'll never get done. But I learned the hard way, basically, that trying to be a full-time cook and knowing nothing about programming or 3D modeling was going to be a huge, huge game dev adventure that was going to be way longer than I thought it ever was going to be. There's a lot of people on the internet that are super, super, super mad at me. Like, you know how they say Trump derangement syndrome? There's people who have like Bokudev derangement syndrome just because of how long the development has been. And they literally hate me and want me dead just because I haven't released the game yet. And I'm kind of laughing, and I don't understand their anger half the time. Maybe I'm a bit of a dick for feeling this way, because being a full-time cook has given me a bit of brain rot to the point where it feels like it was yesterday. It feels like I'm like, what? 7 years? I feel like I just started this thing yesterday. What the fuck are you talking about? But I do feel like if I were to work on my second game next year, because I'm planning on starting my second game next year and having already released Bokube, I hope. I do want to commit to releasing that game in 1 to 2 years and doing it full time for the first time, because I have a feeling with like all the skills I picked up over the years of working on Bokube that I sucked. Okay, I sucked at the beginning when I was 21 and this game started. My skills, like I told you, I knew nothing about programming or 3D modeling. But if you look at my skills now at 28 and after all these years of like hobby dev, messing around, learning from all the people yelling at me in AGDG and on online threads over the years, slowly as a hobby, my skills are amazing now. And I feel like I can program whatever I want now and model whatever I want now. And I feel like if I was just deving full time, like I want to be on my second game, I can really commit to that game getting done in 1 to 2 years and not 7, like it's taking me being a filthy wage slave with Bokube. I hate wage slaving. Let me tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I'm we're both of us are wage slaves, so totally feel it. I'm in retail management, so I get it. All right, so I'm gonna actually fold these next two questions into one here. Just because you sort of touched upon it a little bit, but I'm gonna have you expand on it a little bit. So, what brought you to AGDG, and how do you feel, and how does it affect you being a forced meme within the community?
Okay. Like I said earlier, I was in game dev school back in 2013-ish, 2012, 2014-ish. It's hard to remember, but I was making prototypes for the 10 games in the future that I wanted to make into full commercial products. And I started to post one of these prototypes on V in the game dev threads on V at the time. It was called Dream Nights, where like you play as this little boy who's trapped in a nightmare world by a demon. And the only way to escape out of the nightmare is to eventually kill that demon. It was basically like a Souls-like, an indie Souls-like, way back in 2012-ish. And I just got like hundreds of views and replies in that V thread that I needed to join some community called AGDG. And I had no idea what a general was or anything like that. But I quickly went in there and started posting my work. And I just became a meme over time, especially when I switched with the project being to Bokube, because like I said, I knew nothing about programming or 3D modeling. So I hopped projects to Bokube, and I started to be like this, I don't want to say class idiot, but it was more like the retarded village clown in AGDG who didn't know anything, because like I told you, I didn't know programming or 3D modeling. And eventually this sort of phenomenon started to happen in AGDG where they're like, oh, we got to help the poor retard. He don't know anything. And, slowly they started giving me knowledge while shitting on me at the same time. And I started to realize that if I turn off my emotions and feelings and I stop caring about insults where some guy's like, hey, faggot, your 3D art sucks. If I stop caring about the word he said and the emotions and feelings that I should be feeling when he called me that, well, he's right. My 3D art sucks, and I can get better if I just listen to the second half of what he said. And maybe that's a bit psychopathic or something, but I started to realize that one of the secrets to becoming a better game dev, I don't want to be like a dick and say that I'm an amazing game dev or something, but it's like one of the secrets to getting better is to honestly kind of be a bit of a psychopath and not give a shit about what people say about you. You have to care about the work and not yourself. And I think that's kind of like how I deal with AGDG, is that the trolling doesn't matter. I don't give a shit if everybody hates me or like shit talks me or spends all day rumoring about me. I read the context, the contextual part where they talk about my work and if it's good or bad, and that's what I care about more. I feel like that's the way you really make a Kino game. If you could, you can't have feelings really. Maybe I'm autistic or something. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. No, just because I know when I was writing last year's show, I mean, the amount of threads that I just did a Control F search for Boku or Bokusimp was, and the replies and the results that I got was absolutely insane per thread.
Okay, we got to talk about Bokusimp really quickly. We have to talk about that really quickly. I don't even.
Right,
you want to know how that happened? 10 people in AGDG told me that I can't open source code my game because, like I told you a couple of years ago, I didn't know how to code. And I was like, "Fuck you guys! I'm gonna open the code. I'm gonna open source it, and randomly, I bet you one of you will program one of the most complex things in this game for me that I can't do, and you're gonna do it for free because you love me. You're gonna help me out, and it's gonna be great." And it happened, and it was that guy. It was the Bokusimp guy, and he didn't. And people started to call him Bokusimp because from time to time, I don't even know who he is. He just jumps into my project and helps me out with things that I can't do.
Wow.
Sometimes,
What a community.
sometimes he might shitpost, or people might be shitposting him. I don't know what rumors happen because I don't really pay attention to it like I told you. But I'm grateful to him, whoever he is. He was willing to sign NDAs with me on an anonymous account. We went through legal work together. He's made a whole bunch of really cool shit for me. It's been great. And I think that's one of the powers of working on an anonymous image board that a lot of like more professional devs don't really think about. They think of it like being a terrorist organization or something. But I think of it as it's a wonderful place that you'll get the most high IQ people and the most low IQ people all together in the same room. And there's benefits to that people don't really, I think normies, I guess you could call them, don't really think about that.
Yeah, and I absolutely apologize for the uptick in Bokusimp posting. That is inevitably going to happen just because we started talking about it. Okay, so you mentioned that you actually have a job as a cook, so you're not only juggling outside responsibilities, but you're also doing game dev as well. How do you juggle that sort of responsibility to, spend enough time to work on the game, but also juggle, having a full job and real world responsibilities?
Oh yeah, my girlfriend recently moved in with me too, so it's like I got a lot on my plate, and cooking sucks. It is a 9-hour plus job every single day, making food for about 100 people in a facility. After the interview, I could send you guys some public footage that I've made of myself doing it because I'm making my own little documentary of the development of Boku behind the scenes. But you guys could have it too, so you could see me cooking.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the facility. But it's definitely a backbreaker, and I'm really praying to God. Sorry if you're not religious. I am, Christ is King. But I'm really praying to God that I can work full time on my second game and get away from wage slavery because I'm really tired of it.
Again, where I work in retail management, if there was a way for me to escape, and unfortunately, running a anonymous image board indie showcase doesn't really rake in the dough. But if I ever find a way to do it, I will absolutely stop being a wage slave.
In AGDG, people argue about things all the time, certain game dev aspects. One of them is if you can even finish a game being a full-time employee somewhere, and I would be on the fence or on the side of, no, you can't. No, you can't make a good game being a part-time employee. And if you do, you'll go through what I went through, where you're going to be deving on that game for almost a decade. It's sad, really.
No, I feel you on that one, and from what it seems like you're breaking out of that mold, and provided Bokube does well, having that freedom to work on that second game. And again, we'll talk more about that second game in a little bit, but I gotta switch gears for a second. What is your go-to snack and or drink while you dev?
I'm really lucky that I only have two vices in this world, really, that make me the happiest, which is like game dev and hanging out with my girlfriend. And of course playing video games, but I'm kind of, how do I put this? I eat to live, not live to eat. Like, I'm not a fat ass. I can autistically eat like ramen noodles and drink water for 365 days and not care really. And I just hope that doesn't kill me early and give me super cancer or something.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore Mountain Dew guy. I'm talking like we have in our internal server, we have an entire channel just dedicated to Mountain Dews, where it's like I found this one. So that's my go-to, and I did live off of ramen for a while, so I can respect that.
I get a lot of free food from the kitchen I work in. I get to take a lot of that home and eat it.
About that, yeah.
That's probably why I'm not dead yet, honestly.
Is it at least like healthy food?
Oh yeah, it's a healthcare facility.
Oh, so you're making like salads?
No. It is for people who live in a healthcare facility. So they don't.
Salads.
I mean, they could get a salad, but they have to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Do you feel successful in your game dev career? And how do you define success?
I feel like I'm on the eve of releasing Bokube. Like I might be releasing it in December or January. That's really close by right now. And just to get to the point where the game actually is in its late beta right now, like if you were to playtest it, you would honestly find that it is pretty polished for what it is, and it is genuinely like 6 to 8 hours long. I don't know if you've seen the trailer that I sent you earlier, but it's pretty good for what I'm actually happy with what it is right now. I never thought it would even be this good. To me, success would just be enough to live doing game dev full time on my next game next year, which isn't a lot of money, but I can't really disclose how much that is, obviously. But I see Bokube as a stepping stone because going back to Jukai earlier, I have a feeling that the little amount of money I need to live, I already see that in the wish list for Bokube. If you look at the wish list data, and as long as I release the game, hopefully soon, I'll get that money and it's a stepping stone. So I'm going to be working on my second game, which is like that second diamond, right? And that second game is going to give me way more money than Bokube ever would because it's not a puzzle platformer. I don't know if you've been in AGDG before, but there's a lot of discourse around not making platformers and puzzle platformers and shit. So I'm very happy that my next game definitely won't be one. Even though I am proud of Bokube, don't get me wrong. I could definitely see that. I always knew I was never going to make $1 million off of it or something. But there is a lot of people from AGDG that the only thing they define as success is making $1 million. Like they don't see the big picture like I do to make 10 games. They want to make one game and make $1 million. They don't. And to me, I kind of question if they really even enjoy the passion and artistry that is making a video game at that point. Because I love it so much that I can happily tell you right here, right now, I'm going to make 10 of them and spend my life doing it. I don't know if any of them could say the same thing because the only thing they care about is making $1 million. I feel like by the 10th game, I wouldn't be surprised if I make $1 million because I was okay with making 10,000 on the first one, 50,000 on the second one, 100,000 on the third one, and just growing from there as I get better. And obviously pick genres that aren't puzzle platformer anymore because I can only have each diamond or each of the 10 games has to be a different genre, obviously.
So it sounds like the next game that you want to go into, you want to do something vastly different, and you bring up Aggie Daggy for a good reason. So I guess my next question to you is what's your visual novel going to be about? No, I'm kidding.
I would never make a visual novel, and that's not me shitting on Kino Japanese people who make visual novels. It's just not my cup of tea because I want to actually play I like to make games that I would obviously like to play, and I don't play visual novels really, even though I like the girls. I would make games that are different genres, but definitely have attractive anime women for sure.
I have yet to. I'd be hard pressed to find somebody who wouldn't want that in their games. But all right. So before we had started, you had mentioned that in your next game's development cycle, that you want to do a lot more with documenting it and doing some sort of devlog with it. So I guess sort of to wrap things up, is there anything that you'll be working on, any teasers for your second game, as to like what that would be, where people can find you, how can they join you in that process to follow you along in the second diamond?
Oh, you can just follow me at Bokudev on YouTube. It's Bokudev. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I'm practically on everywhere, even though I'm also on 4chan. But I think I heard it from Thomas Brush, some other famous YouTuber dev, that it's a terrible idea to have a YouTube channel or do devlogs for your first game. You want to do it on like your second or third game. And I kind of always agreed with that, even though I don't agree with him on a lot of things. But I've agreed with that sentiment where I know it's too late in Bokube's development to do a YouTube devlog type of channel now. And I feel like by the time I work on start development really on my second game, it's going to be perfect because I can be like, hey, I'm the developer of Bokube. Go buy that game at the end of every video. It's already out.
It's easy marketing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay. And I'm going to message to cut the recording here. Oh, any last minute thoughts or wisdoms you'd like to share with everybody before we head out?
No, just thanks for having me on. God bless you all. Love you all. It was a great night. I hope you have a great night.